In tonight's 7 Up Front segment, a different perspective on Black History Month from a lifelong Detroiter, a young man who is the chief storyteller for the city of Detroit and the Duggan administration. Eric Thomas joins me live now to talk more about this. Eric, thanks for being there tonight.
Thanks for having me.
What is the role of the chief storyteller for the city of Detroit?
That's a good question. So I guess I have to start at the beginning. This role was created for a guy named Aaron Foley. A lot of people may know Aaron. And when he moved on, I was asked to join. And so the role kind of fits the person who's in the role. In my role, I consider myself as helping with the brand, the narrative, how we communicate our story, how we connect with residents. And so that's been a lot of the work I've been doing in my last year at the job. This year, I think people will start to see the fruits of that effort.
Why is this position important? I mean, we tell stories of Detroit every day, other news media as well. Why is it important from City Hall that story be told?
I mean, I think we have different needs and different motivations, right? My job is to make sure that residents get access to the opportunities that we have as a city. A lot of people can talk about things that are going on, but what we can do is we can talk about things that are going on and connect people to the resources to change their lives. And I think that's just a little bit different than I think what media's role typically is. And so it's a really unique position.
So it's a matter of telling that story to let residents know that opportunities for improvement or opportunities, period, exist for them.
Let them know that this city doesn't exist without the residents, right? We don't have a broad scope. We're not worried about the metro Detroit area, right? We're worried about people who live on Linwood. I'm worried about my guy who lives on Joy Road. I'm trying to find out, what are you about? What is your story? You got a block club, let me holler at that. Let me show that and let me show you that you're being seen. And I guess other media sources don't necessarily have the time, the bandwidth for that kind of stuff. But that's the kind of stuff that makes us excited.
Now, in 2019, before you were in this role, you wrote an op-ed about the need to preserve black spaces in the city of Detroit. Expand on that for our viewers. And in your view, is it a problem for Detroit's redevelopment moving forward?
I think cultural preservation and understanding where you are is important for everybody's development. When you look at cities across the country, from Seattle to San Francisco to Brooklyn, you see that when there's development, there's this idea that the place is the buildings, but really the things that people chase is the culture created by the people who live there. Detroit is a place that is, there's no other way to put it. Detroit is a place that is shaped by its black culture, its black identity. And so I think it's important that we realize that you can't just flop the buildings out and say, wow, black people used to live here, right? Like, Detroit is cool and is engaging and inspiring because of the contribution that black people made. And so in this Black History Month and every other day of the year, it's important for us to have a conversation that says, what are we as a city? How incredible can we be? And how do we elevate the people that were here, are here, and are going to be here?
That it's welcoming for all and that it's comfortable for all in all spaces.
Absolutely. But I think that's always like an interesting conversation that people have when you bring up black stuff. Like, nobody goes into Greektown and goes, how come this isn't inclusive for all spaces, right? We go to Chinatown, how come this isn't inclusive for all spaces, right? Like, there are places that are definitely defined by the culture that built there. And through no fault of the black people that live here, there's been all kinds of racial segregation, redlining, and edging and kicking people out. The population of the city of Detroit is so heavily black, the most black city by capita, that it has been shaped by the culture that has really shaped most of American society, music, and culture. And so I think we sometimes forget that Detroit feels this way because of the people, not because of something that happened in Motown, but something that's been happening in the city of Detroit last week, right? Because of what T. Greasy's doing and Ice Revezzo's doing, and because of what Rochelle Riley is doing and what all these other people are doing, Adrian Taron and all these folks that are actively molding the city as we live in it.
Yep. All right, good there. We are all challenged by this pandemic for sure, but what do you see as the biggest challenges facing the people of Detroit here going forward, and does sharing success stories help with some of that?
I think obviously, getting folks vaccinated, battling against this misinformation campaign that's been swirling in the internet space has been something that's really important. Misinformation is incredibly dangerous, like, it's life threatening. And so it's important that we educate folks that through most of American history, Black people have been saddled with the fact that we had not gotten access to the proper treatment for the ailments that were existing. And now there's an opportunity that we now do have access to treatment. And so it's important that we take advantage of that. I don't think it's necessarily about success stories. I think it's about real, authentic stories. I don't always need to see a story about some, savant that magically figured out a problem that nobody else can. I'd like to know about the regular guy with a family that is just making a space for him and his.
Yep, and many of those having that kind of success. Eric, we appreciate this. We'll continue to watch your work in the year ahead and learn much more in the process.
Absolutely. I appreciate you for having me.
Eric, thank you. Eric Thomas, he is the Chief Storyteller for the City of Detroit on 7 UpFront tonight.